Okay, can you explain the key events or underlying factors that lead to this incident?
Well, if we want to understand the recent incident better, then we have to take a step back, to go back around February. Okay, so around February, what happened in Ukhrul district in the village of Litan Serakhong was that there was a drunken incident, okay, where a drunk Tangkul man, he had an altercation with a few Kuki groups, few Kuki youths. Okay. And because of this altercation, there was a physical confrontation. Okay. Now, when that happened, there was no immediate communal reaction. Okay. Both the Kuki side and the Tangkul side, they filed FIRs. They were, everything was going according to the law. And in fact, the Kuki chief had also, supported the justice system, and they agreed to meet the police. Okay, the very next day, along with the accused. Okay, so a meeting was set the very next day to settle the situation. And also when the Kuki leaders, the community leaders were notified of this, the only comment they made was that this was very bad and that the law should take, take action on this. Okay, that was it. Now what happened the next day was when the two parties arrived, when the accused arrived at the police station to deal with the police, there was an interruption. Okay, so around 4 armed Tangkul gunmen came from a different village into that area. Okay, from a different village they came to that particular area and they fired upon the crowd, and they also fired at the houses of the accused. And this all happened in front of the presence of the police. Okay, now these miscreants, they came from outside, they fired upon the crowd, and then they escaped from there. Okay, now this raised some tensions. Okay, so people started becoming more apprehensive, and then immediately there was a meeting held between the Kuki and the Tangkul community leaders in the presence of the Central Armed Forces. Okay, now during this meeting, the Kuki groups were they were constantly trying to de-escalate the situation, and they had asked the Tangkul side that let us stop this violence, let us not let this get into a big thing. So let us nip it in the bud and let us stop all kinds of tensions right now. But then the Tangkul groups, they refused to talk, and instead they said, okay, we cannot talk right now, so let us have a separate meeting the next day. Okay, so they set up a meeting for the next day, and they also provided the location, they provided the timing also. So all the arrangements were made from the Tangkul side. Okay, and the Kuki side, they complied with it. So thinking that nothing much will come out of this, both sides separated and they left the scene. Now, within, I would say, 40 to 50 minutes of that initial meeting, houses were burned. Okay, so the Kuki side noticed that some of their houses are being burned. Okay, so in retaliation, the Kuki side also burned some of Tangkul houses. So both sides, they started burning each other's houses. Okay, and since then, they were not able to communicate with each other. So what happened, the situation started escalating more and more. So more people started getting into the communal violence, more people started burning each other's houses. And then eventually what happened was the Tangkul Apex body, okay, so they made a public statement in front of the camera. They made a video statement saying that now they will no longer cooperate with the Kuki societies. They will detach themselves from the Kuki groups. So there will be no more communication, there will be no more cooperation. So since then, there has been absolute open warfare between the two sides. Both sides are attacking each other. Both sides are defending each other, defending from each other. Okay, so it is very unclear what is happening in the ground right now. And there's always these blame games, that, okay, they started attacking us first. No, you started attacking us first. So these kind of blame games are very common right now. And the situation has been going on since the past, I would say, since February. Okay, now, sometime in between, around March, okay, something interesting happened is that there was a shootout between two Tangkul militant factions. Okay, there was a shootout between, I wouldn't say shootout, I would say ambush. Okay, four cadres of the NSCN Eastern Front, that is also a Tangkul militant organization. So they were ambushed. They were ambushed by NSCN IM. So this was a shootout between Tangkul militants and Tangkul militants, right?
Okay.
So 4 people were killed. Okay. 4 people were killed, and nobody understood why this happened. Okay, nobody could make sense of it. Still, anyway, the violence continued, the conflict continued, and now going to the recent event in Kampopi where the 3 pastors were ambushed. Now, how is this connected to Ukhrul? How is this connected to the Ukhrul conflict? So, the 3 pastors, they are from the Thadou Kuki community. Okay, and their base is in Kampopi district. So the previous night they had traveled from Kampopi district to Chochanpur district via the Tiger Road to attend one seminar. What was the seminar about? That was a seminar being held by the Manipur Baptist Union. Okay, so the meeting was in regards to how to separate the Kukizo entity from the Manipur Baptist Union. Basically, how to start a separate wing, because the Kukizo pastors cannot enter Imphal anymore. So just to have an administrative, some kind of administrative solution to it, that is why they had this meeting. Okay, now after the meeting, the very next day, the convoy of pastors, they were returning from Chochanpur to Kampopi. Now somewhere along the way, these 3, the convoy was ambushed, and 3 of the pastors were shot dead on the spot, and I think around 1 person survived. Now, immediately after this incident, there was accusations from the Kuki side that this was carried out by 2 militant organizations. One is the ZUF, which is the Zilengrong United Front, and the other is the NSCN-IM, which is a Tangkul body, is a Tangkul militant organization. Okay, so this is how it is connected to the Ukhrul conflict. Okay, now immediately after the first set of accusations come in, the response from the ZUF was that they deny the responsibility, they deny committing this crime, and instead they blamed the NSCN-IM. So now one Naga militant faction is blaming the other Naga militant faction. And on top of that, what they're also adding is that the NSCN-IM, they have created a fake proxy under the Zilengrong United Front name to confuse the public. So their accusation is that the NSCN-IM had carried out this ambush using the fake ZUF organization's name. Okay, that was clearly written in their statement. All right. Now, after this, now what is the response from the Tangkul side? So the response from the Tangkul side is that they deny any, they deny responsibility for this action, for this crime, and also now they are accusing the Kuki side of ambushing their own pastors. And their claim is that the Kuki side killed those 3 pastors because those 3 pastors belong to the Thadou community. And they claim that the Thadou community does not want to be a part of the larger Kuki nomenclature. But that is just a propaganda. It is a propaganda which was started by Michael Lamjathang. Ever since the conflict, he has been propagating himself as a Thadou. Although he has been part of Kuki organizations before, now he has reinvented himself as a Thadou. And he claims that the Thadou organizations, the Thadou community, do not want to be part of the Kuki groups, which is untrue, because I am also a Thadou and I also belong to the Kuki group, and the official apex body, the Thadou INPI, which is located in Kampopi, they also have no intention to separate from the Kuki groups. Okay, so why is there so much confusion? Because Michael Lamjathang, what he did was he created a fake Thadou organization. Okay, a fake Thadou INPI organization, which has already been declared illegal and unlawful by the actual apex Thadou body. Okay, and at the same time, he is using another organization called the Thadou International Community, who are all located overseas, out of India. And most of the members, they are not even Indian citizens. They are from Burma. Okay, and they do not even speak the Thadou language. Okay, so now, because of these 2 fake organizations, there has been mass confusion. And the Tangkuls are trying to create this narrative that the Kukis have killed their own pastors simply because they belong to the Thadou community. And also they are claiming that these 3 pastors were somehow they were involved in some peace meeting between the Kuki and the Meitei, or the Thadou and the Meitei, and that is why they were killed. But like I said before, the only reason why they traveled to Chochanpur is to have a meeting regarding Manipur Baptist Union. So it has nothing to do with the peace talks, nothing to do with, other communities. So all this is just misinformation. trying to confuse the public. So that is the situation so far. After the ambush, I would say the situation is very volatile, because immediately after the ambush, what happened was both the Kuki and the Naga side, they started capturing hostages. Okay, so till yesterday, there was a hostage standoff situation where both the Kuki side and the Naga side were trying to, let's say, trying to get the other side to release their hostages first. Okay, the latest update this morning is that some of the hostages have been exchanged. Okay, 7 of the Kuki hostages have been released, and around 17, majority of the Naga hostages have been released. But now the question is, what about the remaining Kuki hostages? Because only 7 have been released till now, and the Kuki side has released mostly all the Naga hostages. So the situation still stands, and the remaining Kuki hostages are still in Naga custody. That is the situation.
Who is like to be held most responsible for the situation that's going on right now?
See, in Manipur, you can never tell who is responsible, because every organization will blame the other, every tribe will blame the other. Okay, but all I can say is that the narrative which is coming from the Tangkhul side, which is that the Kukis killed their own pastors because they were Thadou, that narrative does not make any sense. Because these 3 pastors, although they belong to the Thadou community, they have been living in Kampopi for a long time. They went to Chochampur, and they have never had any issues with the Kuki groups, because they themselves are Kuki, like I said. So it does not make sense for the Kuki side to kill their own 3 pastors. Rather, what makes more sense is that this was definitely, as what the ZUF, the Zillengrong United Front, as what they claimed, it is definitely, it must be an assassination conducted by the NSC and IM through their proxy, which is Zillengrong United Front Kamson. Okay?
Okay, so as the last question, like, how do you see the situation evolving and in the coming days or weeks, and do you believe that there's a realistic path toward a solution in the near future?
Realistically speaking, I don't see a solution to it, because the Tangkhul side have not put forth any demand. The demand from the Kuki side is to de-escalate the situation and to bring peace. The Kuki have no interest in fighting the Tangkhul. The Kuki have no interest in fighting the Naga. We do not have interest in fighting anyone. Right now, there's a situation between the Kuki and the Métis. It has gone to political talks. So nobody is interested in open warfare at this moment. Okay. But the problem is that the Tangkhul side, they don't have any demand. So what is their end objective? If there is to be a peaceful solution, they need to bring forth their demand. What do they want from this? So far, they have not stated anything. And because they have not put forth any demand, it leads to a lot of speculations. And the major speculation is that there is a leadership crisis amongst the Tangkhul militancy. Because as we all know, their leader, which is Muiva, he is very old right now. And since the conflict, he has not made any public appearance. Okay. It is such a major conflict is happening, and the leader is not making any appearance. So everyone finds it very odd. So the major speculation is that there is an internal struggle within the Tangkhul militant groups. Why? Because if we just tally all the news from the entire Northeast region, especially Arunachal Pradesh, so over the past week, there has been a lot of NSC and IM operatives captured by the central forces in Arunachal Pradesh. And there was also an encounter where 2 NSCN cadres were killed by the central forces. And also, 1 NSCN IM operative surrendered to the police. So as you can see, the NSCN IM faction is weakening. Okay, their grip on the Naga society is weakening. So over the past few decades, the NSCN IM operatives, they have not fulfilled any of the promises they have made. And they have resorted to extortion. They have resorted to doing illegal businesses. So the people do not have any trust anymore. So this is why there is a major speculation that the Tangkhul militant organizations are now fragmented. Okay, so in order to fix this problem, how do they fix this problem? How do they elect a new leader? It usually comes at a time of crisis. When there's a time of crisis, they expect that a hero or a leader will arise from the ashes and save the people, right? So the major speculation is this is why the conflict is not ending, and this is why they have not put forth any official demand, because for them it is not about any demand. For them it is about survival. It is about who will take up the leadership, who will continue the Nagaland movement, and how do we jumpstart the movement and unite all the other Naga tribes into the movement. And their way of doing it is by creating a crisis with the Kukis and by constantly trying to pull in the other Naga tribes into the conflict. They have officially reached out to the Nagaland tribes, and they've officially reached out to all the other Manipur Naga tribes as well. And the problem is that the Zilengrong Association, unfortunately for the Tangkuls, the Zilengrong Association already made a public statement on camera saying that they will not participate in this conflict because it was started because of a drunken brawl. So we have no interest to participate in this conflict. Similarly, the response from Nagaland's side has been very bleak. So instead of joining the conflict, what they have done is they sent a delegation of Nagaland Joint Christian Forum to broker a peace between the Tangkuls and the Kukis. And a meeting was held, but there was no peace agreement made. So without any demand from the Tangkul side, there cannot be a solution, because what is the end objective? The end objective needs to be defined. From the Kuki side, the end objective is peace. From the Tangkul side, there is no end objective. So it is difficult to have talks, it is difficult to have a solution. So I fear the situation will become more volatile as time goes on. If they have an objective, then at least there can be a discussion. Okay, right now, okay, let's analyze the Kuki and Métis situation. In that situation, the Kukis have a demand, and the Métis object to that demand. That is why the two communities are politically opposed to each other. But in the recent situation with the Tangkuls, they have not put forth any demand. So if there is no demand, what is there to talk about? I would just like to request all the people of Manipur to stop the violence, stop believing in militancy. Militancy does not save anyone. Okay, what we need right now is peace. The Kuki side have already extended many times that we want peace. We want to de-escalate the situation. Okay, and right now all I can say is that the Tangkul side, they need to come up with a demand or something. What is their end goal? What is their objective? So that peace can be maintained. Without any clarity, the violence will continue, and we do not want that. So give peace a chance and let us all de-escalate the situation. Thank you.